Hi, Clive Pedley from Giving Architects here, and today we'd like to share with you an amazing story about an incredible organisation called the Hawke's Bay Community Fitness Centre Trust, and an amazing capital campaign that they ran, which we were very proud to be involved in. In fact, this campaign was remarkable because not only was it adaptive and involved a lot of best practice methodology, it also won the award for the best high value campaign from the Fundraising Institute of New Zealand in 2021. As you're about to hear from the very influential and key campaign chair, Sir Graeme Avery, this campaign was complex. It had a lot of remarkable key stakeholders involved, and it somewhat changed as things unfolded, and the campaign plans and the approach to achieving campaign success needed to adapt with it. But as with all good capital campaigns, it started off with a very robust assessment of what was achievable, what was possible, and what the key critical success factors would be to get the right outcome.
Any capital campaign requires a significant planning effort right from the outset. And in my view, the key to the success of the campaign was the thoroughness of the 6 months lead-in preparation that included the usual feasibility study, identification of potential giver targets through a number of spontaneous spill sessions with community leaders, and then the pre-campaign launch period to get the crucially important leadership gifts. And we worked to get major 7-figure sums from individuals, business, that gave confidence to what was the tipping point, a 4 million gift from the Hastings District Council. And armed with those contributions, we continued to secure further leadership support gifts until we launched the campaign in October of 2016.
So at this stage of the campaign, what was clear is that the vision was evolving and the unmet need that was being addressed was increasing. The scope of the campaign was growing. And while we'd been very fortunate in effectively securing multiple 7-figure gifts, the major donor prospects pool that was in front of us was decreasing. So it was becoming very clear that we would have to be really succinct, methodical, and successful in every remaining approach if we were to achieve capital campaign success.
During that time, the scope of the appeal extended from my naive initial belief to give comfort to the mayor, the then mayor of Hastings District Council, that the elegant tin shed would only be about 6 to 8 million. But as you do with these campaigns, I quickly found out that there was quite a bit more money on the table from council and elsewhere. So it was extended to 12 mil, that then moved through 15 and finished up around about 18 mil to better meet the need of the community. And I must stress that the community need, the unmet need, was the thing that drove the whole campaign and galvanized the community and the different volunteers that helped in the campaign and helped with introduction to key givers and their different sector groups. The reason to give was strongly based on the very, very poor health statistics in Hawke's Bay, particularly in Maori and Pacifica communities, and that captured the imagination of particularly the individual givers and some of the businesses and certainly the councils.
What became increasingly clear during this campaign was that different donors, funders, and sponsors were responding to different aspects of the campaign, and they needed to be presented effectively the campaign impact that mattered most to them. The key messages early on in this campaign were around community health and wellbeing. Really significant key stakeholders needed to know that this campaign, that the facilities and the programs that would result from it were going to achieve an intergenerational impact on community health and wellbeing. As the campaign unfolded, it became clear also that other types of potential stakeholders and supporters were interested in other unique aspects of the campaign, particularly as they related to sport. So we learned that we cannot always assume that different supporters, different cohorts will react to the same types of messages, the same proposals, the same key messages, even from the same key leader. And there was some adaptability that was required as we continued to achieve capital campaign success.
As an integral part of the planning process was the commitment of all involved into the discipline around the structure of the giving process and how that should be done, how we needed to engage with potential givers to inform them adequately about the project. We knew a little bit about most of the potential givers and the hot buttons, as it were, and whether they would give to community wellbeing or sport or both. So the initial engagement meetings were all about ascertaining that key information and always finished with the discipline of leaving something unsaid or creating an opportunity for a follow-up visit. And that part of the process was a key component in the structure. And with many of the givers, particularly the larger ones, there was 5 or 6 follow-up meetings involved. And when we had achieved sufficient confidence, spent a lot of time initially with what the size of a giving ask might be, that is always the hardest. And I blew some, asked too much, too soon, and others didn't ask enough. The successes all came when we were pretty much right on. And that part of the process was the area that Clive had put a huge amount of discipline behind and reminded me and others who were giving me help the education and reminders continually as to how that would work.
Unlocking any donor's full philanthropic ambition is a critical success factor in any high-value fundraising campaign, and it was especially important in this particular campaign. With the needs of the campaign growing, the campaign target increasing almost monthly at some points, there was a lot of pressure to raise a lot of money quickly. But we couldn't let this distract us from the fact that donors wanted to fully understand what were going to be the features of this campaign and its impact in the community that most closely resonated with their philanthropic ambition. And what that required us to do was to turn up and listen. And this is such an important part of capital campaign methodology that is often overlooked. Again, we needed to secure the best possible outcomes from a relatively small number of significant donors, funders, and sponsors. So we would really take the time to spend in front of them, listen and understand, so that we could present an effective opportunity for them to partner with tremendous success and impact.
I must say, through all of this, none of it would have happened without the professional expertise of Clive Pedley from Giving Architects. He was the choir master throughout. I did whatever he told me to do. And it was painful at times. I'd been through big campaigns in Auckland, raising funds for the AUT Millennium Institute, so knew what it was about. And I get my pleasure from helping others and making sure people deliver to their full potential. But Clive was outstanding, including being a shoulder to cry on with all of the knockbacks that we got. Any big campaign is not all beer and skittles, and you do get knockbacks. But we persisted, and so much so that we had a second go. We were originally knocked back with our application to Lottery's Significant Project Fund. That was important to us, a 3 million request. We resubmitted that, was successful, and received that well after the main building was completed. But we needed that gift to make the facility larger to better meet the increasing demand. Success is built in communities of success, and that's certainly been the experience here.
Much of what we've delivered in here has been community outcomes, as we indicated during those fundraising campaigns. We run extensive school delivery, education outside the classroom to primary school, probably about 35 different primary schools, and a lot of those primary schools are low decile schools who traditionally wouldn't have that opportunity, and that's been supported by business sponsorships who help fund that. So effectively it's free of charge to those schools to come in and run those programs. And it's all about resilience, being part of a team, nutrition, living healthy, the lifestyles that we want to promote. As Graeme alluded to, we run programs from Wairau right through to Central Hawke's Bay, so it's truly regional. We're very privileged to work in what has become a real community magnet hub for sport. It's probably the best regional sporting facility in New Zealand. And this initial capital fundraising for the building that we sit in now has been the catalyst for the 3 builds that are happening right now. So we have, just behind me, you'll see the scaffolding wall. Within 2 weeks that comes down, so that's an extension to the current building, funded by the Lottery Significant Grant of $3 million. In mid-May, we'll open a 60-bed senior athlete accommodation hostel funded by a provincial growth fund, and that'll allow further participation and development by schools and sports groups and camps. And then the big one that fell into us unexpectedly, I guess, during initial lockdown is the Hawke's Bay Regional Aquatic Centre, a $32.3 million build funded by government shovel-ready funds, and that's an absolute game changer. So huge progress, but nothing of the second stage would have happened without an initial fundraising campaign. So as I say, we're privileged to be working here. It's a wonderful facility. Although we are high performance, most of the programs we run are about community outcomes and healthy outcomes. So we're extremely satisfied with progress to date.
Bold vision, passionate and committed leadership, major giving, and capital campaign success can be truly transformational for the organisations that can deliver those, and for their communities, and even, as you've heard, for the whole regions that they serve.
A huge personal thanks to Clive for the great stewardship that he provided. Goodness gracious me, over three and a half years, there were many phone calls, emails, weekly initially, then monthly visits. It was a fantastic period, and you make wonderful friends out of it that last forever. Thank you very much.
But it is a major undertaking. It requires a really well-informed plan. It requires direct connection with key stakeholders. And it requires the right level of investment and the resources that are needed to execute the plan. This is something that was there in this campaign, and we were really, really pleased to be part of. It's a campaign that I'll never forget, and one that Giving Architects was very pleased to be part of.